Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in as 50 Cent has decided to jump out there and use his number one tactic as beef to promote his latest product that he executive produced. Once again, as this time around, it's BMF, as it's going to be a part 2 to the documentary side of the collective that they had going on Stars, as they had the TV show that got canceled this last season, but they also had a whole deal as a whole where they were doing the documentary part to kind of like tell the storyline of the TV series and everything that went on with BMF. And he put this up on the gram today with the trailer. And I can't post that trailer right here because it's copyrighted through Stars, so I can't let y'all hear it. But in the
moment this headline started circulating, fans froze mid-scroll. Whispers turned into loud gasps, timelines exploded, and one question began echoing everywhere. What is really going on behind the scenes? Because if even a fraction of these reports are true, then this isn't just another celebrity headline. This is a full-blown storm. According to emerging commentary and online chatter, 50 Cent's name is once again being dragged into a controversy that no one saw coming. While Big Meech's brother is suddenly at the center of jail-related speculation tied to a documentary drama that's raising eyebrows across the internet. Now, let's be very clear. We are not saying any of this has been officially confirmed. What we are discussing is the wave of reports, reactions, and rumors that are spreading fast and leaving fans stunned. And stunned might be an understatement. Because as these stories gain traction, emotions are running high, alliances appear shaky, and long-buried tensions are being pulled back into the spotlight. Users are claiming that a behind-the-scenes documentary dispute has sparked serious fallout. Commentators are suggesting that words were exchanged, lines were crossed, and suddenly the narrative took a dark turn. Some reports even hint that legal trouble could be looming, not because of something new, but because of old issues being reopened under public scrutiny. Fans are shocked, insiders are speaking in coded language, and the silence from certain key figures is only adding fuel to the fire. And then there's 50 Cent. Whenever his name enters the conversation, calm rarely follows. According to online buzz, his alleged reaction to the situation sent shockwaves through the community. Some say it was calculated. Others claim it was personal. Either way, people are asking whether this documentary drama has exposed fractures that were never meant to be being mentioned. Loyalties are being questioned. Supporters are choosing sides without knowing the full story. And as these reports continue to circulate, one thing is clear. This isn't just gossip anymore. It's a narrative that's spiraling fast. So the real question is not whether this actually happened, but why so many voices are suddenly saying the same thing. And once you hear how this story unfolds,
because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets, but I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me.
You'll understand why everyone is talking. The noise around this situation did not begin with an official statement or a court document. It began quietly, almost invisibly, through side comments, reaction clips, and long threads where people started connecting dots that were never meant to be connected. According to circulating reports and commentary, a documentary project that was supposed to clarify history instead reopened wounds that many believed were sealed forever. Fans are shocked because what was framed as storytelling suddenly started sounding like accusation, and that is where emotions ran high. Close to the discussion online claim that Big Meech's brother felt blindsided by how certain moments were portrayed. Not criminally, not directly, but emotionally. The documentary chatter allegedly brought back old narratives that painted him in a light he believed was unfair. Friends of the family were reportedly confused, while longtime supporters began asking uncomfortable questions. None of this was coming from court filings or police records, but from reactions, commentary, and people reading between the lines. As these reactions grew louder, the name 50 Cent entered the conversation, and that alone shifted the tone. Whenever he is mentioned in any drama tied to legacy, power, or control, fans expect fireworks.
was ordered in 2021 as a companion project to complement the Starz scripted crime drama BMF, which recently concluded its 4-season run on Starz. The show was canceled in October, leaving fans with a cliffhanger when Big Meech, Demetrius Flenory Jr., was arrested by Detective Von Bryant Steve Harris. There has been plenty of speculation regarding why BMF was canceled, with the spotlight on franchise executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's beef with Big Meech. Sources at the time of the cancellation told Deadline that Jackson and Big Meech's frayed relationship was not the reason BMF ended. Jackson addressed the rumors during the recent chat with Deadline while promoting his ratings juggernaut Netflix docuseries Sean Combs' The Reckoning. BMF was already slightly declining in ratings before the last season started, and they made some creative choices that were, from my perspective, not good choices. Jackson told me in late November, "I know people feel like I turned it off, but the networks would have continued to move forward with the show if it was doing the numbers it had been doing." So it's one thing me saying that the
Commentators suggested that he was not pleased with how certain figures were framing the story publicly. Some online voices claimed that he felt the documentary conversation was drifting into dangerous territory, especially when fans began speculating about legal consequences that were never confirmed. This is where the jail narrative began to circulate, not as fact, but as fear. Posts started appearing suggesting that the renewed attention could trigger authorities to revisit old cases. Again,
over. Those were the circumstances. It wasn't me. So 50 Cent trolling once again, taking more shots at Big Meech. Now, when you see this and how all this played out, 50 took it all the way up there to the next level when he saw Big Meech link up with Rick Ross. He had already felt the way when Southwest T had linked up with Supreme. Then Southwest T had linked up with Ross on stage as well. They probably feel like, bro.
There was no proof, no announcement, no warrant. But fear spreads faster than truth online. Fans are shocked because they watched speculation turn into panic in real time. One comment would say, "This could lead to jail," and suddenly that phrase was everywhere. People close to Big Meech's brother were reportedly alarmed. According to online discussions, family members felt the weight of public judgment returning. Old stories resurfaced, half-remembered interviews were clipped out of context, and faces that had stayed out of the spotlight were suddenly being analyzed frame by frame. Emotions ran high within the circle, with some allegedly urging silence, while others believed silence made things worse. The tension reportedly peaked when 50 Cent was said to have reacted privately but firmly. Not through a loud post, not through a press conference, but through messages that insiders later described as cold and direct. Again, this is based on commentary and rumor, not confirmed exchanges. But the tone described by those claims...
They ain't got nothing to do with us, but 50 Cent, he looking at it like, hey, y'all ain't being loyal. Y'all linking with people that don't rock with me. They using y'all to get at me. I think y'all should know better. That's how 50 Cent felt about it. But they gonna have this new doc dropping right here. People gonna check it out. Of course, the storyline is like just major and had a big, you know, if you was in that DVD time, like I was a DVD watcher. I bought DVDs. Me and my partners, everybody watched them. So I was on BMF before, like just knowing when they hit DVDs. That's when I heard about BMF back in the game. Before they even like got arrested and stuff, I was seeing it. So it's just one of the things where 50 Cent is gonna do what he does. Like I say, have sent to the capital C's at this point in time because he ain't took a break yet. Ended the year off.
Claiming knowledge was enough to send shockwaves through fan communities. People began saying this was no longer entertainment drama, but a clash of influence. Fans watching from the outside felt divided. Some believed 50 Cent was protecting a narrative he helped shape. Others felt Big Meech's brother was being unfairly dragged back into public suspicion. The family was left divided, at least in the eyes of online observers. Reactions poured in from supporters who said this was exactly why certain stories should stay buried, while critics argued that documentaries invite scrutiny by default. What made the situation heavier was how quickly commentary channels picked it up. Reaction videos multiplied, each adding another layer of speculation. One creator would say this looks bad, another would respond with this could get serious, and suddenly jail was no longer a distant word but a central fear. Fans are shocked because no official source had said anything, yet the emotional damage felt real. Within these discussions, alleged dialogues began circulating. One viral post claimed that a close associate told Big Meech's brother, "This attention is dangerous. You need to step back." Another claimed someone responded, "I am not hiding from stories anymore." None of these statements were verified, but they fueled the sense of a personal struggle unfolding behind closed doors. The documentary drama had become less about footage and more about consequences. 50 Cent's alleged stance, as interpreted by commentators, was described as controlled but unforgiving. People claimed he believed narratives shape reality, and once a story takes hold, it can hurt everyone involved. Supporters argued that his concern was strategic, not personal. Critics countered that power always looks strategic when it protects itself. The debate split fan bases, leaving comment sections burning with arguments. Meanwhile, Big Meech's brother was portrayed by online voices as someone caught between legacy and survival. The pressure of public attention, mixed with whispers of legal danger, reportedly took an emotional toll. Friends were said to be urging calm, reminding everyone that rumors are not charges. Yet the fear lingered because history has taught these families that attention can attract more than cameras. The most unsettling part for fans was the silence. No clear denial, no confirmation, no grounding statement. That vacuum allowed imagination to take control. Fans are shocked not because jail was announced, but because it was imagined so vividly. Every old clip, every past headline was recycled as proof that something bad could happen again. As the documentary drama continued to trend, emotions ran high across social media. Some begged everyone to stop speculating before real harm was done. Others insisted that ignoring the conversation would only make it louder. The family was left divided in public perception, with sympathy and suspicion existing side by side. And hovering over it all was the name 50 Cent, a reminder that influence can calm storms or intensify them. By the end of this phase of the story, nothing had officially changed, yet everything felt different. Trust was thinner, nerves were exposed, and the idea that commentary alone could shake lives had become impossible to ignore. Fans were left staring at their screens, wondering how a documentary conversation had turned into a storm filled with fear, loyalty tests, and whispers of consequences that no one could confirm, but everyone could feel. As the conversation refused to slow down, the atmosphere around everyone involved grew heavier. What began as speculation now felt like pressure, and that pressure was being felt most inside private circles rather than public spaces. According to ongoing commentary, Big Meech's brother was not just reacting to fans or creators, but to the way people around him started acting differently. Calls became shorter, advice became cautious, and every move felt watched. Fans are shocked because this shift happened without any official trigger, driven purely by narrative momentum. Online voices claimed that close friends urged him to distance himself from the documentary discussion altogether. The reasoning was simple but unsettling. Once a story starts shaping public imagination, it does not need facts to cause damage. Emotions ran high as people debated whether stepping back would look like guilt or self-protection. Those close to him were reportedly split, some believing silence was strength, others fearing silence would let rumors harden into belief. At the same time, commentary channels began dissecting 50 Cent's past reactions to similar situations. Not as evidence, but as pattern analysis. Fans replayed old interviews, paused at certain phrases, and suggested that he had zero tolerance for narratives he could not control. Again, none of this confirmed his current stance, but it shaped expectations. People were no longer asking what happened, they were asking how far this could go. Within these discussions, alleged private conversations were being described in dramatic terms. One widely shared claim suggested a tense exchange where someone warned that this level of attention could invite unwanted eyes. Another claim suggested a response that sounded defiant, as if backing down now would erase years of survival and loyalty. These were not recordings or documents, Just words attributed to unnamed sources, yet they hit with emotional force. Fans are shocked because the human side of the story started to overshadow the sensational one. This was no longer just about a documentary. It was about living under the shadow of past narratives that never fully disappear. Supporters of Big Meech's brother spoke about fairness, arguing that retelling history without context can feel like punishment. Critics argued that history cannot be selectively remembered. The family was left divided in how outsiders perceived their internal struggles. Meanwhile, the idea of jail continued to hover like a dark cloud, even without substance. Commentators repeatedly clarified that no charges existed, yet still spoke about what could happen if authorities felt pressured by renewed public interest. This contradiction confused viewers. On one hand, nothing was real. On the other, fear felt real. Emotions ran high as fans tried to separate cautionary talk from fear-mongering. 50 Cent's influence, whether active or assumed, became central to every theory. Some claimed his silence was intentional, a way to let the noise burn itself out. Others argued silence from powerful figures often signals displeasure. Supporters insisted he owed no one explanations. Critics countered that when power stays quiet, others suffer the consequences. Fans are shocked by how quickly interpretation replaced information. Inside fan communities, arguments turned personal. Friendships fractured over opposing views. Some accused others of exploiting trauma for clicks. Others fired back that ignoring uncomfortable conversations was a luxury not everyone had. The documentary drama became a mirror, reflecting how people consume stories without considering the lives attached to them. The family was left divided not just internally, but across the audience watching them. Another layer of tension came from the belief that this moment could redefine reputations. Commentators suggested that once a narrative sticks, it becomes a reference point forever. That fear reportedly weighed heavily on Big Meech's brother, who according to online chatter felt like he was being judged again without a chance to speak freely. Friends were said to encourage him to trust time, but time moves slowly when fear is loud. Fans are shocked because they recognized how fragile stability can be. One documentary conversation, amplified by speculation, had allegedly reopened emotional scars. Emotions ran high as viewers debated responsibility. Who is accountable when rumors cause stress, but no laws are broken? Where does entertainment end and harm begin? These questions filled comment sections, unanswered and unresolved. As this phase unfolded, the story did not explode, it simmered. The lack of closure made everything feel more intense. People waited for statements that never came, clarifications that stayed unspoken. And in that silence, imagination continued to work overtime. What remained was a tense pause, where every new post felt like it could tip the balance, and everyone involved seemed trapped between speaking too much and saying nothing at all. The pause did not bring peace, it brought anticipation. As days passed, the silence surrounding the situation began to feel heavier than any statement could have been. According to ongoing commentary, people close to the situation sensed that everyone involved was carefully choosing their next move, not because something had happened, but because something could happen in the court of public opinion. Fans are shocked because this kind of tension usually follows confirmed events, yet here it existed without a single official update. Within inner circles, online voices claimed that trust became a sensitive subject. Who could speak freely and who could not became an unspoken concern. Some friends were reportedly nervous about even casual conversations, worried that words could be twisted into headlines. Emotions ran high as people realized how easily commentary could be mistaken for confession. The documentary drama had turned everyday communication into a risk. Speculation around 50 Cent continued to grow, not because of action, but because of restraint. Commentators suggested that his experience taught him the value of letting situations reveal themselves. Others believed his silence was being misread as approval of the chaos. Fans dissected his past behavior, drawing comparisons that may or may not apply. Fans are shocked by how a single name can dominate a narrative without a Big Meech's brother, according to online discussions, was described as increasingly guarded. Not fearful, but cautious. Those claiming insight said he felt trapped between defending himself and avoiding escalation. Speaking out could feed rumors, but staying quiet allowed others to define the story. This internal conflict became central to the drama, highlighting how public perception can feel like a trial even without charges. The family was left divided in how they believed this should be handled. Supporters rallied around the idea of patience. They reminded others that speculation has no legal weight. Critics pushed back, arguing that public narratives often influence real-world decisions. Emotions ran high as both sides accused each other of ignorance. The debate grew louder than the facts, creating a fog where truth struggled to breathe. Another twist emerged when some commentators began questioning the role of documentary storytelling itself. They argued that once footage is released, interpretation is out of the creator's control. Others claimed creators have responsibility for the consequences of their framing. Fans are shocked because this shifted the focus away from individuals and toward the system that amplifies stories. Blame became diffuse, making resolution harder. Rumor dialogues continued to circulate, each more dramatic than the last. One claim suggested a warning was delivered with urgency, urging caution for the sake of family peace. Another suggested a reply that emphasized dignity over fear. None of this could be verified, yet it shaped emotional responses. Viewers felt like they were witnessing a private struggle unfold through whispers. The fear of jail, though still unconfirmed and repeatedly labeled as speculation, refused to disappear. Commentators spoke about how history follows people, especially when narratives resurface. Even those who dismissed the idea admitted that renewed attention can attract scrutiny. Fans are shocked because fear does not require proof to exist, it only needs memory. Within fan spaces, empathy began competing with entertainment. Some viewers admitted they felt uncomfortable enjoying the drama knowing real people were affected. Others argued that public figures invite discussion by existing in the spotlight. The family was left divided in public sympathy, with compassion and criticism colliding in every thread. As this stage of the story unfolded, one thing became clear. The drama was no longer driven by new information, but by accumulated emotion. Every reaction carried the weight of what had already been said. Emotions ran high as people realized that, even if the noise stopped tomorrow, the impact would linger. Reputations do not reset easily, and fear does not vanish on command. What remained was a fragile balance. No confirmations, no denials, just a shared awareness that narratives can shape reality without permission. Fans continued to watch, not for answers, but for signs. Signs of relief, of closure, or of escalation. And in that waiting, the story continued to live, sustained by uncertainty and the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the loudest drama is built entirely from silence. By the time the discussion reached its most intense point, the focus quietly shifted from speculation to consequence. Not legal consequence, not official consequence, but emotional consequence. According to ongoing commentary, everyone involved began to feel the cost of being talked about without being heard. Fans are shocked because the situation now felt heavier than simple drama. It felt like a lesson unfolding in real time about how narratives can reshape lives. Those close to Big Meech's brother were said to notice a change in his energy. Not panic, but exhaustion. The kind that comes from carrying a reputation that refuses to rest. Online voices claimed he felt misunderstood, not by courts or authorities, but by audiences who only saw fragments. Emotions ran high as supporters tried to remind others that speculation does not equal truth. Yet the louder those reminders became, the more obvious it was that damage had already been done. Meanwhile, commentary around 50 Cent evolved again. Instead of portraying him as an instigator or a silent power, some began framing him as a symbol of how influence magnifies perception. Fans debated whether his presence in the story was even fair. Some argued his name alone intensified fear. Others said removing his name would erase important context. The family was left divided in public opinion, with every side convinced they were defending truth. A quieter conversation also began taking shape. Viewers started questioning their own role. Creators acknowledged that repeating rumors, even with disclaimers, still feeds anxiety. Fans are shocked because this self-awareness rarely appears in viral moments. Emotions ran high as people admitted that entertainment often ignores human cost until it becomes unavoidable. According to circulating claims, private conversations became more grounded during this phase. Rather than warnings or defiance, the tone reportedly shifted toward preservation. Protect mental peace. Protect family bonds. Protect distance from noise. These alleged exchanges were not dramatic, but they mattered. They suggested that those closest to the situation wanted resolution, not victory. The idea of jail slowly lost its grip, not because it was disproven, but because people began recognizing it as a projection of fear rather than a reality. Commentators emphasized once again that no charges existed. Fans are shocked by how easily fear can overshadow fact when history and emotion intersect. This realization did not erase the tension, but it softened it. The documentary drama itself also began to be viewed differently. Instead of a trigger, it became a mirror. Viewers saw how storytelling can reopen wounds without intending to. Discussions shifted toward responsibility, not blame. Who carries the weight when stories echo beyond their purpose? The family was left divided in interpretation, but united in being affected. What stood out most was how silence, once threatening, started to feel like healing. The absence of new claims allowed nerves to settle. Fans noticed fewer reaction videos, fewer heated posts. Emotions ran high less often, replaced by cautious reflection. This did not mean the story ended, but it changed shape. For Big Meech's brother, as portrayed by online commentary, the moment became one of quiet resilience. Not retreat, not confrontation, but endurance. Supporters expressed hope that time would dilute rumor. Critics moved on to newer topics. The noise did not vanish, but it faded into background hum. 50 Cent's role, real or imagined, also settled into perspective. Fans acknowledged that influence does not always mean intent. Sometimes it simply exists. The shockwaves attributed to him became less explosive, more symbolic of how power is perceived rather than exercised. By the end of this phase, the story had transformed. What began as dramatic speculation matured into reflection. Fans are shocked not by what happened, but by what almost happened in collective imagination. Emotions ran high, then slowly steadied. The family was left divided in memory of the moment, but no longer trapped inside it. And perhaps that is where this chapter rests. Not with answers, not with confirmation, but with awareness. Awareness that stories do not need to be real to feel real. That commentary can wound without intent. And that sometimes the most powerful resolution is simply choosing not to add another voice to the noise. Now it is your turn to step into this conversation. You have heard how these reports, reactions, and rumors unfolded, and how quickly speculation turned into pressure without a single official confirmation. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family was left divided in the court of public opinion, all driven by commentary and imagination. But what do you think this really says about celebrity narratives, documentaries, and the power of online discussion? Do you believe stories like this show how fragile reputations can be? Or do you think public figures should expect this level of scrutiny once their past becomes content again? Do you feel silence helps calm the storm, or does it only allow others to control the narrative? Your perspective matters, because these conversations do not end with the people involved. They continue with viewers like you. If you found this breakdown intense, eye-opening, or thought-provoking, make sure you support the channel by liking this video. It helps more than you think. Subscribe so you do not miss upcoming stories where we break down the drama behind the headlines without claiming what is real or confirmed. And most importantly, drop a comment below and tell us your honest opinion. Were the shockwaves justified, or did speculation go too far this time? Share this video with someone who follows hip-hop culture and media drama, because these stories spark conversations that go beyond entertainment. Stay curious, stay aware, and remember that sometimes the loudest stories are built from whispers. We will see you in the next one.